أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. صدق الله العظيم. I also put on the chat before the books link, I put like lyrics of a song that I will start by us watching together. So it has Arabic and I translate it into English. So I would love the Spanish speaking people to translate it. So people, when they watch it, even though they will feel it, and it has some of the beautiful names of Allah that you can recognize, but it will be still good to translate that paragraph that I sent, because it is going to be the introduction. That's the inspiration I got, the introduction to a nafs al-mardiya, or the level of the nafs that is made to be pleased, like the pleased nafs. Allah makes it pleased. So, subhanallah, it's a beautiful song, one of my favorites. You probably heard it before. If not, I hope you will enjoy it. So let us start with that. Okay, where did I put it? See. Do you see the PowerPoint now?
Yes, it's a man pointing to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, do you hear the sound? Can someone let me know if you hear the sound?
Yes.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Yes, we did. We can hear it. Yep.
Okay.
الأحد الحق ظاهر لو كنت بقلبك تبصر سترى الله بعظمته في كل شيء حاضر. الأحد الحق ظاهر لو كنت بقلبك تبصر سترى الله بعظمته في كل شيء حاضر. لو تكفف عن قولي أنا لو كنت لذاتك تنكر لو تفنى عن غير الله ستراه جمالا وسنا ستراه جمالا وسنا. لو تكفف عن قولي أنا لو كنت لذاتك تنكر لو تفنى عن غير الله ستراه جمالا وسنا ستراه جمالا وسنا. الأحد الحق ظاهر، لو كنت بقلبك تبصر سترى الله بعظمته في كل شيء حاضر. الأحد الحق ظاهر، لو كنت بقلبك تبصر سترى الله بعظمته في كل شيء حاضر. لو تكفف عن قولي أنا، لو كنت لذاتك تنكر، لو تفنى عن غير الله ستراه جمالا وسنا. ستراه جمالا وسنا. لو تكفف عن قولي أنا، لو كنت لذاتك تنكر، لو تفنى عن غير الله ستراه جمالا وسنا. ستراه جمالا وسنا. ستراه جمالا وسنا.
I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. I love this song. I love how they did the video because it has these subtle meanings. It describes the path, and to me, it describes this level of the pleased nafs. So the pleased nafs is the one who don't identify with anything, as the song says in one of the verses. Like you don't identify with, for example, your state and how you feel. Like sometimes you say, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm crushed. But if you say, I'm experiencing anger, or I'm experiencing some sadness, it's a state. It is not you. It is something you are experiencing. So to distance yourself from that, to observe yourself, is one of the characteristic, I think, of this station. Because you're vanishing from everything. You're vanishing from identifying yourself with even a quality. Like you can't say, I'm just born impulsive, like it's just my nature, I can't be patient. Or you can say, well, I just can't express myself well, I'm just a quiet person. Like, and then you can say, I am the teacher, I am the mother, I am this or that, I am that employee, I'm that boss. The more we identify with these things, the more it hurts. We're much more than what we feel and what we experience. We're much more to be in a box like that. So there is freedom when we realize that, when we realize we're not the content of our consciousness, we're not our thoughts, we are consciousness. And to observe, then all the divine qualities in everything in the creation. So actually, I just wrote the book, Smart Tricks for Kids. So what are the smart tricks? When you look at maybe the animals, the birds, the humans, and even the electrons and the galaxies, you can see there is a quality of protection. Some animals use tricks. They run fast, they camouflage, maybe they bury something and hide underground, or they fly, or maybe they sting, or they release a bad odor, or this and that. And the electron also, as soon as it was created after the Big Bang, it looked to protect itself. So it looked for light to absorb energy and protect itself. So everything has a mechanism of protection, and the form itself comes and goes. Many electrons may disappear, forms disappear, everything dies, but the quality of protection is always exhibited in the universe. So the more you look, take one of the divine qualities, such as the generous, or the patient, or the seer, the hearer, the one who hears. If you start to look at everything in the creation, you will see these qualities behind all the actions. Because again, the example of the smart tricks that animals use, it's the protector that is allowing them to use a certain mechanism. So behind everything in the creation, there is the divine qualities, and that is the shahada when we start to witness that. And as human beings, we become forgetful of witnessing that within ourselves and in others. So it will come down to our awareness and the relationship with others. And the more we free ourselves from that identification, the more we become like a mold in Allah's hands to mold us as He wishes. As CG says, if you have read that level in both the music of the soul, and he who knows himself knows his Lord or his masterful nurturer, you will see CG saying that at this station, you become receptive to Allah. So He uses you as He wish. And He says it's not easy station, because you may get a lot of judgment from people, and you will get out of your comfort zone and pattern of behavior. So, for example, CG says that the person who reaches that station may be praising someone, or where that praise is actually a criticism, or he may be giving criticism or critiquing someone, and this is actually a praise, because he actually talks to the soul and to the heart, not the outer situation. So in a way that he acts in a straight way, as CG would say. Another example he gave, which may explain it even better, he said that you may find that person in that station withhold something to the degree that you may see him as a miser. But he's not a miser. He's withholding it out of knowledge, because he can distinguish between frugality or between when to give and when to take, and what is the wisdom of giving and what is the wisdom of taking. So he withholds to the degree that he doesn't care if others will criticize him or her. On the other hand, he might also be giving too much to someone, and people may think that's wasting or that is unwise. But because he sees a cause, he knows the effect, it is coming from Allah, then he doesn't care for the blame or the praise. So at that station, the person is receptive. I call it the station of receptivity of bliss, pure bliss from Allah, pure blessings from Allah. So you find the satisfaction from understanding why you're acting as you're acting and what is the wisdom of it. So for example, you know the story of Al-Khidr and Musa, and you know that Al-Khidr would act in a way that Musa would judge him, because he will come to the boat owned by poor people and he will just smash it and make a hole in it. And outwardly it seems harmful and evil, but for him, he knew the wisdom of it. He knew that there is a king coming to take all the boats. So he wanted to make that boat seems undesirable for the king, so the poor people can later fix it easily and protect their livelihood that way. So in that sense, Al-Khidr didn't care for the praise or the blame that Musa alayhi salam would give him or anybody else. So similarly, we've seen that sometimes in CD, right? So it's hard for us to reach that station, and it's our inner jihad that when you start it, you attain that station, you will notice a change in your pattern of behavior. But as long as you're having the why and the inspiration coming from Allah, the more you will rejoice, or that is the bliss, that is the satisfaction, or being pleased with what Allah wanting you, even if you will be sacrificing your image in front of people and so forth. And some Sufi sheikhs, when the students are ready, they give them certain tasks or behavior so they can see what they will do to help them attain that station. For example, there is a whole tariqah, what it's called, several tariqahs, but one of the tariqahs makes its disciples at some point, only by the permission of the sheikh, to wear something really colorful and patched and looked unfamiliar. And then the instruction is to wear that a little bit at home, to familiarize yourself with it. Then the next step is to maybe someone, a friend, a close friend coming to visit you, and you're comfortable with them, then you wear it in front of that person. The third step is to accept other guests, like formally in your house wearing that thing. And then after that, you go to the supermarket to buy something wearing that. Then in a higher level, you even go to your workplace with that. Of course, people will either laugh, make fun of you. People may start to say, why you're foolish, why you're wearing this or that. So the idea is to make the nafs don't care, as long as you know the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to attain that place of doing, disciplining the self and doing what you're supposed to do, regardless of praise and blame. That is only a ritual kind of practice, but in that station, it is not like a ritual like that, but it is more of an action that you can be taking, and you know it's the right one. And I think most of you coming to the Sufi path, probably many of you, your families may not approve of it, but you have taken that step because you know in your heart it's the right way. So you don't care for the blame or the praise. Also is kind of walking that the nafs likes to please people and to be praised and so forth. So sometimes just doing what is right without waiting for that, and being with Allah, showing you inwardly the science, the wisdom, the meanings, the qualities you have developed. Just being with Allah like that can give you that bliss, that satisfaction. So and every station holds a danger, because we can fluctuate. In my view, we have glimpses of higher stations, and we kind of fluctuate down again, because every life experience, a new one, will pose a new challenge to you, for a new potential to evolve inside you. So sometimes when we reach a glimpse of this, that, oh, Allah inspired me of this, I followed it, I see the effect, the wisdom, the meaning, and I'm so happy I attained. But then the nafs is tricky, you know, it tells you, oh, you have attained, you're now high or higher than others, and maybe everything else you do, you claim that it is from Allah like that, but maybe it is not. Sometimes it's clear inside of us, and sometimes it is not. So when it is usually comes and take you outside your comfort zone and takes you outside of a selfish reason, like it is not about yourself anymore, it's about the cause behind it. And CG talks about that in his book. Is like when the cause is the motivation. When we say a cause is, again, like a call that you're standing for. But again, the trick is, as here the song says, that you start to see the inner rather than the outer of people. Like it says, if you could see with your heart, you will see the glory of Allah in everything that exists. So in your interaction with people, if you start to feel and see their inner self, then you know exactly what they are coming from. So some people may be coming from a place, most of us, a trauma of a childhood, but we develop different mechanisms, each one according to their personality and circumstances and so forth. So for one person, it could be they faced the same trauma like another, but one became rebellious because this is how he reacted to the trauma and to the oppression or the abuse or something like that. So they become rebellious and they always want to be in control or take over and things like that. While another person who faced different circumstances might react to similar trauma differently. So they might be more suppressed or more muted, more withdrawn. So you can't treat people where in the same way, just like the physician. The physician may give salt to someone who has low blood pressure, but if someone has high blood pressure, you shouldn't give that salt. So similarly, when CG mentioned in the book that the sheikh or the Gnostic will be giving someone a praise, but that praise is a blame in disguise, or the other way around, because he knows what can be effective in that case. He could see that person is rebellious, for example, so maybe he needs the kind of again, according to the inspiration, could be praise or blame to be effective. And when you vanish with Allah, as the song says, so what is vanishing in Allah means? It means you're not thinking of the results and the secondary causes. You're only receiving from Allah, and you're knowing the wisdom and that the meaning of why Allah wanting you to act in a certain way. Any questions so far? Before I'm going to use a couple of other slides, but I want to see if you're following with me. Probably the question will be, how can I know I attend that kind of station? Again, I think to the best of my ability, what I understand is that when you come out of your familiar zone and pattern of behavior, you come out with understanding and a clear way, and you come with a sudden inspiration that is thrown into you from Allah, and you kind of see what quality is evolving inside you. And these are some of the signs. You feel intimate with Allah. As the song showed you, you see Allah talking to you through your own image and the image of everything else. And that is when you know. So there are these signs that shows you if you're having a glimpse of that station. Samara?
I just wanted to know where we can find this music. Is it on YouTube? Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I'm gonna send for you the name of the singer and the link. Let me do that before I
Thank
forget.
you.
His name is Mustafa. He's actually a Turkish singer. So he sings in Turkish and in Arabic. But this is one of my favorites. So I put the link there. His name is Mustafa. I don't know how to pronounce it. Shizili or something like that. Probably if we have someone from Turkey here can help us pronounce it. But yeah, he has a few lovely songs, but this is the best. This one is the best one. Okay. Any other questions? Do you see any hands? You don't see the song or the chat or what?
I don't see the copy of the link, beloved. I don't know if you put it in
Oh,
there.
yeah, probably I didn't put for everyone the link. Okay. Thank you for pointing this. And that's his name. Okay, I'm gonna share another slide.
Somebody, can I just interrupt for a minute? Somebody
Please.
asked, was there a
You're cutting.
yeah, oh, let me find it. They asked, I am cutting in and out. Sorry, never mind.
If anybody is asking a question, I couldn't hear Samara. You can ask it now.
Yeah, Astaghfirullah,
okay.
beloved. Somebody asked if you have an audiobook version of your children's stories.
Oh, that's interesting. It's a new idea. Maybe I should make it onto audio.
Yeah,
No, I
children
don't
love
have
that.
audio. But because of the colors and the illustration, that I thought to make it in a print. But it's a good idea. Maybe can be audio as well.
Easy. I was wondering if you had any audiobooks at all.
I have the Hidden Pearls one. I can, I haven't yet put it in Amazon or something like that, but I have it. You can always reach out to me through email and I can send it to you, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Can you see now the PowerPoint? Okay. So the sixth station is the receptive of divine bliss, nafs al-mardiyya, the pleased self. And it's the station of the secret because it's more about intimacy with Allah, nearness to Allah. And this is the ayah called Ayat al-Nur. It's ayah number 35 of Surah al-Nur, surah number 24. And it has all the stations. So it says Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. The parable of his light is that of a niche that has within it a lamp. So that is the second thing. One is the niche, then the lamp. The lamp is in a glass, a third layer. The glass, as it were a brilliant star, that is fourth, lit from a bliss tree, that is fifth, an olive tree, so that's just a description, neither of the east nor of the west, whose oil, so the oil is the sixth station, almost glows forth through, though no fire touches it, light upon light. So light is the seventh. Allah guides to his light whom he wills, and Allah sets forth parables for mankind, and Allah is all knower of everything. So now, as we know, the niche is the body, so the allegory of the divine light, which is knowledge, because visible light is what brings things into vision, so into consciousness. It brings things into the light. Otherwise, we don't know they exist, right? If it is completely darkness. So light here is a metaphor of knowledge. And light is the best metaphor of knowledge, as Al-Ghazali says. So the allegory of the divine light, enlightenment, illumination, knowledge, awareness, is that of a niche, like a body. So the niche is like a body. Therein is a lamp. We almost look like a lamp because we have the spinal cord inside us that is lit with electromagnetism. So we look like a bottle, actually, and we look like a lamp that we can be illuminated from inside. This spinal cord, you know how the lamp is like a body that has a cord, right? And this cord transforms knowledge from consciousness to the body, from the soul to the body. It transforms from the brain to the heart, from the heart to the brain, to the limbs, to all the organs. So we look like a lamp. And the lamp or the spinal cord is within a bottle glass or brain stem. The brain stem, which is the picture on top, it looks like a bottle almost. And so there is a body, inside it there is the brain stem, inside it there is a spinal cord. The bottle or the glass, the brain stem, is like a brilliant star with firing neurons all the time, going back and forth, illuminating the brain and the heart with all neurons. It's like we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. We have the heaven also full of stars inside us. Each star is like a thought or a star that connecting together make concepts and feelings. And these thoughts and feelings can help us gain meanings. And this meaning can help us gain through knowledge of who we are. And so we know our masterful nurturer, Allah. So the glass illuminates by a blessed tree, which is the central nervous system. An olive tree, or you can say also the glass is illuminated by a blessed tree that is inherited inside all of us, is the prophetic, the tree of prophethood, one prophet after another, the lineage of prophethood, a tree, a family tree of humanity. It's inside us. The knowledge is inside us. So this is the blessed tree from which the knowledge of who we are and how we're supposed to attain these levels of consciousness through the prophetic message, through the message that Allah sent the prophets with. And we have that inherited within us because we all have a cell from Adam still and Eve that is still inside us. An olive tree alluded to the olivary parts in the brainstem. They are called the olivary, as you see in the picture on top, on the two sides, they call them the olivary or olive glands because they look like olives, subhanallah. The olive tree alluding to the olivary parts in the brain stem, which connect the brain to the spinal cord. The tree is neither Eastern nor Western. It's universal. The prophetic message is universal. And if you look how we attain knowledge by collecting the data from the five senses. And these five senses, just data. It doesn't belong to the right hemisphere or to the left hemisphere. It is just when we process it and start to attribute meanings to it that it becomes meaningful or not. or false perception or not. The data itself does not lie, like we perceive things and then we interpret it. So this tree of life that exists, everything is like an ocean of atoms, and we receive things from it, and then we start to interpret it depending on our state of awareness. So the knowledge itself is not biased. The truth is not biased. The truth is truth. The truth prevails. So we receive the knowledge without bias, universal knowledge. We receive it and then we start to process it. So the tree is neither Eastern nor Western. The spinal cord does not belong to either of the two brain hemispheres. It just receives everything. The tree's oil, or the fatty matter actually in the brain, would almost illuminate with electric signal, even no fire has touched it. It's true, literally. And it is illuminated like that by what? By consciousness itself, by the soul, by the life force inside us, that mystical life force inside us. Light upon light, then it brings knowledge upon knowledge. God guides to divine light or knowledge whomever he wills. And he here in Arabic language can be the capital he or the small he, meaning that if you want knowledge, then Allah will give you knowledge. And some people say, no, it refers to Allah himself, where there is only Allah in any case, but it depending from the perspective of the devotee or the perspective of the divine you're looking. But if you will to have knowledge of something, then you ask, you search for it, you seek it, you pose the question for Allah. If you're not posing the question for Allah, how you will get an answer? You have to pose the question to get an answer. You have to be willing to pose a question, open to pose a question. So asking questions is good, and asking Allah questions is good. And this is where we do the istikhara prayer, to be able to make a decision, to choose. And to one of my favorite prayers that you probably heard me repeat it is, Allah, make me see the truth as truth and give me the courage and the strength to follow it. And let me see falsehood as falsehood and help me to, and give me the strength to abandon it. That was the Prophet's prayer, dua. And he also said, oh Allah, increase me in knowledge. That is the only thing he asked of increase of. He didn't say increase me in wealth, for example. He said increase me in knowledge, because knowledge is true wealth. It is knowledge that will bring wealth. It is knowledge that will make the person strong or patient. It is knowledge that can allow us to love someone. It is knowledge that can allow us to forgive someone. It is easy to say, I forgive by tongue, but unless you have a knowledge that allows the empathy and the compassion to be illuminated in your heart and understand why that person behaved a certain way, you will not forgive in a deeper way. You will not let go. If you don't have the knowledge of how the offense that you experienced is transforming and shaping you and making you closer to Allah, then you will not be able to get rid of the hurt. So it is knowledge that can bring all of other qualities, and all qualities, of course, illuminate each other or are gateways for each other, because sometimes it may start with love. You love someone so deeply to the degree that you are willing to know them in a deep way. So whether your gateway is love or knowledge, it will illuminate the other qualities inside you. So, and you will put light upon light, the light of knowledge upon the light of forgiveness, upon the light of love, upon the light of compassion, upon the light of patience or wisdom, or all the divine qualities, light upon light, knowledge upon knowledge. So if you will, your passion should be to know the truth, to know love, to know compassion, to know how to forgive. If you're truly seeking that, then you will find, as they say, when the student is ready and willing, then the teacher appears. And Allah can both disclose himself to you from within and from without. He can bring whoever will teach you from the outside, and he can illuminate you from inside. God thus cites the parable for the people. God is aware of everything. So why the oil is kind of the sixth station, or the station of the luminous self, the receptive of divine bliss, or the station of the secret. So if you look at olive oil a little bit to try to understand the metaphor, you find that olive oil color is due to two types of pigments. Chlorophyll, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, chlorophyll, yellowish green, and carotenoid, yellowish brownish, which are attracting the attention of the scientific community due to the probable health benefit. But beyond that, just as the pigments of olive oil benefit the physical health, the coloring of the divine qualities, which Allah mentions in the Quran, He says, Sibghat Allah, the dye, Allah dyes us with His qualities, dye, like color us with His qualities. So one day you're colored in wisdom, another moment you're colored with love, another moment you're colored with resilience, another moment you're colored by compassion or generosity, and so forth. The coloring of the divine qualities. Sometimes you're subdued, or you are feeling guilty, so you can do tawbah and so forth. The coloring of the divine qualities benefit the spiritual health. Just as this chlorophyll, which is like the greenish, yellow-greenish part that absorbs the light. Similarly, the station of the pleased or the receptive soul to the divine bliss is receptive to the divine qualities, is receptive to the knowledge that comes with these qualities. Chlorophyll is the fuel of life. So similarly, the divine qualities are the fuel of the soul's life. Chlorophyll's job in a plant is to absorb light, usually sunlight. And the energy absorbed from light is transferred to two kinds of energy storing molecules. Through photosynthesis, the plant uses the stored energy to convert carbon dioxide absorbed from the air and water into glucose. in another way, you can say that the divine quality is that which give you the energy required to fuel your body into certain actions or fuel your mind into certain interpretations, into certain meanings. So similarly to what chlorophyll does, the divine quality are the substance of the soul's life. And the meanings and the interpretations are the substance of our life. Therefore, Allah uses olive oil in the metaphor about the divine light, absorbing the divine qualities or knowledge, the dye or the pigment, as it says, is what makes us conscious and alive. Because if we don't have any feelings, any meanings, any qualities, like we are like a corpse, like the body in itself is just a corpse without any of that. But it is the substance of life to be conscious and to have these qualities exhibited in actions. And it is what makes us know Allah. How can you know an infinite compassion if it does not transfer to a discrete, particular, dense action that can be a word, a hug, an helping hand, even a smile or a gaze? It has to be transformed into something specific for you to capture, to taste, to experience what compassion is. And similarly, forgiveness. If we don't do mistakes and offend or wrong one another, how can we fathom forgiveness? So at the moment you are forgiving someone, you experience that bliss. You are receptive to that bliss. At the moment you ask for forgiveness from someone, you are experiencing that bliss. You are receptive to that bliss. And at the moment when both the forgiver and the forgiven vanish in forgiveness, they taste its sweetness. They see the beauty and the peace, as the song tells us. When you vanish in Allah, you will only see beauty and peace. So similarly, if you're facing hardship and you're receptive to the divine quality at that time, then you may experience the receptivity and the bliss of creativity, or the receptivity and the bliss of strength, or the receptivity and the bliss of a healing, whether in an emotional level or physical level or intellectual level. So at the moment you are experiencing that, you are receptive, you're intimate with Allah. Whether you recognize that or not, you're experiencing Allah and only Allah. You vanished in Allah. So according to the Quran, yellow is the color of annihilation. Interesting, which is how olive oil looks. So annihilation means fana, because, for example, when the plants started to wither, they start to become yellowish, greenish, yellowish, then brownish, then red or black, and disappear or decompose. So similarly, that kind of oil, that kind of receptivity, that kind of vanishing in Allah, in the moment you forgive someone, you're vanishing in Allah. The nafs is withering. the nafs dies, and the true self is resurrected as a spirit from Allah. And you feel at that moment of forgiving someone or being forgiven by someone, you experience that bright yellow, because the Quran also describes two types of yellow. There is the pale yellow, which is annihilation, and then the bright yellow is a color of joy and warmness and illumination, like the sunlight. So in a way that when you receptive to the bliss and you vanish in the divine qualities required in a moment and situation, then the nafs dies and the true self is resurrected, and the true self is none but a spirit from Allah. It experiences beauty, joy, and warmness. These are the qualities of Allah. So the pleasing and the pleased, the pleasing self and the pleased self. That is when you vanish in the joy and warmness of Allah. And that is a gateway to actually reach النفس الكاملة. The nafs al-kamila, or the complete self, the holistic self, does not feel lack or excessiveness, which is another aspect that CG speaks about in the Music of the Soul and in the book. He knows himself, knows his Lord. He describes, I lost my train of thought for a second. He describes how, what was the last thing I said?
About
By the
lack,
time I said the name of the book, it skipped my mind.
about lack or excessiveness.
Lack or excessiveness. That's also something about that station, which I made a whole class about it in the program that I teach, about how each virtue lies between two extreme or two vices. One is lack and one is deficiency. For example, patience is a virtue. A lack of patience becomes impulsiveness, and that's a vice. And too much excessive patience, we sometimes confuse it by being passive. We think being passive is patience, but no, there is subtleties. And not only that subtlety exists, but also the complication of a particular situation in a particular time with a particular person or group that sometimes in one situation it might require to just pause and not act, but in the next moment, if that was not effective, it might need another degree of being persistent in addressing the issue or something like that. And then if it didn't work, then it's like something you have to adjust to the situation, to adjust to what is required. So it requires a vigilant and attentive awareness of Allah and what He wants of you. And that what we call in our path taqwa. Taqwa means guarding consciousness. So this guarding consciousness makes you aware of Allah. It makes you aware what is happening inside you, and whether you are reactive or whether you are reflective, thoughtful, prayerful. So if you are reactive, usually it's coming from the nafs and the old pattern. But if you're more aware, okay, I am escalating in my old pattern of behavior, withdrawing or being impulsive or this or that, then I say, okay, that has not been effective, which is the sign that I need to try something new. So, and you try a baby step, and as they said, the path is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But you always gain 1 step, you always gain new learning. So it's okay that you relapse in your old pattern of behavior, but you continue to improve little by little. It is almost like orthodontics work or orthopedic work. Like it has to be slow, one by one, baby steps, as CG would say, gentle, 1 step after 1 step. So again, the station of the pleased self, or the self that is receptive to divine bliss, which comes from divine guidance and knowledge, then and ultimately it comes from a place of love. If it is not coming from a compassion and love, then it is coming from the nafs. If it is coming from a station of love, even if the person is doing wrong, but you can look and say, oh, act so arrogantly, but probably because he's insecure and he lacked love and he had past trauma, or he thinks he can control things and that will fix his dilemma. So you come from a place of compassion, because as the song, you remember this scene in the song where he looks and he sees a cloud with all the faces of different people as if it is his mirror. So when you know yourself as a human being, you see the humanity in everyone. You empathize with everybody. When you know yourself, you know everything else, you know everybody else. Because we all might face external different situation and difficulties, but we all inside are the same. We feel the same sadness, anger, all the emotions, shame, guilt, happiness, and we selfishness. We all have the similar journey inside. So once you know your own journey a little better, you know others people's journeys a little better. And Allah has a way to always continue to break your pictures, so you can continue to learn and know more. I'm going to stop here and see if people have questions or comments or reflections.
Doesn't look like anyone has any questions, but take your chances, like Sidi always says.
I see Aisha G.
Yeah, there she is. Aisha, you want me to unmute you?
No, I just did. Thank you. Amany, I was going to ask this before, but I was on my cell phone. I couldn't figure out how to get to it. I've asked this so many times and I still don't have a clear understanding. I mean, I understand the laws and everything. However, we have free will. Could you talk a little bit about that?
So Ibn Arabi is a great Sufi sheikh. He says that we all exist for eternity in Allah's knowledge. So the best metaphor I thought of to explain free will and predestination is that if you imagine each one of us is like a circle, and we have a free will, so we go against Allah and the circle shrinks, but it remains a circle, or the circle expands, but it remains a circle. So to translate it into English, like, so you have a free will to choose, but Allah inwardly gives you, and outwardly too, gives you the appropriate consequences to your free choice. And that appropriate consciousness or consequence, that appropriate consequence, whether it makes you suffer or expand or constrict and so forth, is to maintain the knowledge of the soul and to awaken you to that reality, to his reality, to your reality. So let us say that the person lies because of fear or anything. The person lies, or the child, even for the first time, lies because he's afraid the mother will yell because he broke something. So you can see that right away he feels shame and guilt inside on top of the fear. And you see it in the face, in the feeling. If you're subtle enough, then that, of course, the child is still not mature enough to understand what is happening. So it's the mother or the parent should do that for him. And that's exactly what Allah tried to do with us. With time, he nurtured us. The mother, again, is not perfect. The father is not perfect, but Allah is perfect. So through life events and the people whom Allah put in our life is meant to awaken us to, like, as a parent, a true parent or a guided parent may do with the child. Like, okay, don't be afraid, but don't lie, because lying is against your soul, is will make you feel ashamed and guilty. But you know, things happen. Okay, we can do that or do that to mend it. So Allah is doing that to us, in my view. Allah is doing that to us, but it's like not direct, especially because we are asleep or we are still children, immature. So gradually we mature and we understand that when we go against the nature of our soul, we incur consequences upon ourselves. So we start to awaken. So in a way, that kind of fire consequences, the fire of guilt, the fire of shame, the fire of fear, the fire of, you know, this is purification and awakening to who we are. So it burns the kind of the false self for the true self to be resurrected and become mature and aware and so forth. So it's a journey, like we are in a university to learn that. So that is how I understand the free will and predestination.
Thank you. Thank you for the teaching. And it was so interesting when you said about the knowledge for forgiveness. I mean, there's my daughter and I've had conversations about not forgiving and knowing, well, I guess we've said didn't know how, but I don't know, there's something about the knowledge, having the knowledge of forgiveness.
Yeah, it's very important.
How important
I was
it
just
is.
reading a novel, actually, and in the novel, it shows a character that was abused, for example, and rushed religiously to forgive, but without maturing and understanding or expressing the pain first. She was denied that. So in a way, her forgiveness was by tongue, but then she developed a kind of attitude of being protective and being wanting to be in control, so she wanted to get hurt again. So in a way that it was not a deep forgiveness. So that's why like knowledge is very important, and knowledge comes from Allah. That's illumination. The more you understand yourself, why I behave a certain way, and heal that, the more you can see it in another, maybe in a different circumstances, but you probably they have that, they are just walking with it and they need compassionate healing or even tough love sometimes, but it is all coming from a place of love inside you and the place that can able to let go and forgive.
Right. And how important it is to have the knowledge that the forgiveness is for us, it's for our heart, and can affect a situation, but it's really
Yeah,
for us.
definitely. Yeah,
Thank you.
alhamdulillah.
Nani? Muniba has her hand up.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, Amany.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
As you were speaking, some things occurred to me, and I'm just going to put them out there. Maybe you can open it up for me to understand better. That back to the free will, that we as creation, we are human beings have been given free will, but all creation is impermanent. It comes and it goes. But in the divine reality, it is eternal. There's no ending. So that when we use our free will, Allah has given that to creation to come back to proximity to Allah, that we might return to his reality of the eternal reality.
Exactly, which is our true self as spirits.
Yes, that's our essence. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Yes, beautifully said. Any other comments or questions?
Assalamu alaikum.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I had a question. When you were talking about the emotions, like the difficult emotions of like shame or fear or guilt, and that fire that's purifying us when that happens, I'm wondering, when I'm feeling like this sort of constriction or difficult emotion, is that from Allah or is it from myself?
Well, everything is ultimately from Allah. So it's ultimately from Allah. But sometimes we just get stuck or we have wrong interpretation of things. So like, okay, you can experience guilt because you have wronged someone or you see that you hurt someone. So that's purifying and awakening fire. So you can go apologize for them. I feel guilty. I hurt your feeling. I'm sorry. And you experience again being forgiven and the bliss of that. But sometimes you may feel guilty for nothing because of trauma in the childhood, and you think you offended someone, but you didn't, and you just have a feeling of shame or guilt. In that way, it is also purifying because ultimately Allah designed that way, because eventually the people will feel enough is enough. I'm tired of this. So they awaken to their true self and heal that, oh, that was because of my trauma, but I haven't really done wrong. So you can heal also and experience that bliss of being healed. So in either way, you can say everything is designed by Allah, because these kind of temporary feelings awaken us to our true self and eventually we say enough is enough of that fire. I want, you know, I want a healing. I want to see like how I can get out of this.
And so in that same way, everything, even if it's like seemingly negative, is actually a good thing, or the potential for a good thing.
A potential of good thing. Ultimately, it is a good thing, but sometimes we just get stuck in it longer. We linger in our emotion and the rumination and things like that. But if we just take it as Sidi tells us, okay, take it and say, well, alhamdulillah, okay, how can I get out of this and do something about it? Do the tawbah, for example. Ask Allah for healing. Am I guilty because I have this trauma, or I'm guilty because I really offended someone or wronged someone? Show me Allah, do your tawbah, return to Allah, and see the illumination of understanding that may come to you, and then do to the best of your ability as a human being. That is our inner jihad. So it is not easy. It's easier said than done, but we always strive to do it by doing the istikhara, doing the tawbah, thinking about it from different direction, learning and continuing to know knowledge, like hearing other people's stories, seeing the people who are awakened, what they did. Like there are several tools that Allah provided us with. There is the Prophet's stories that we can learn from it. There is people who are still writing stories also, some of it real life stories or even novels, but written with kind of understanding. Look for those things to awaken yourself to understand the human soul. So use these tools, the dhikr, the practices, the tawbah, the, you know, consulting with someone. There is chaplains, therapists, and all of that are different tools Allah giving us so we can continue to heal and awaken. So we experience the bliss, which is intimacy with Allah.
Thank you so much. That I just feel better already, actually.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, you can see it's all beauty and peace eventually. So even those, you know, hard feelings we feel, we can become grateful for it in a way, ultimately, because it awakened us and let us find our true selves. And so find Allah and find the bliss. Alhamdulillah. Right. Any other question or comments?
Take your chances. We only have like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yes, because I have another class, the Quran class.
We'll see.
So perhaps we should go ahead and end so that Amany can make it to her next class on time.
Alhamdulillah.
That sounds good. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Samara.
You're very welcome. It was a great teaching. Beautiful.
Thank you, Amany. Thank you, everybody. It was a blessing to be with all of you. And may Allah help us all attain the pleased self, the self that is receptive to the divine place. Ameen, Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.